Okay, well, you also had another question that you posted, so let's start with that. And she also posted it in the arena, and I didn't look recently, but earlier when I looked, nobody had commented on it, which really surprised me. So, so you guys get to comment now. Why are some horses unable or unwilling to flex at the pole?
Because they're blocked. They have a block.
I stand by the answer I put in the arena.
Yeah, sorry, I missed it. So,
What was your
go ahead.
answer, Monica? What was your answer?
Pretty much like Brenda, it's like the atlas joint is out of whack.
Mhm.
And it's out of alignment. So body work would help out.
Sylvia, any thoughts?
Sorry. I did see the question in where it was posted, and no, I don't have any any answers or suggestions.
No problem. All right. So yes, it can be that. But I would pose the question back. Is everybody here right-handed? Okay, so how many of you sign checks with your left hand? And why not?
It's just that it's not as dominant. It's not the dominant side.
Yeah.
And it could be just that it doesn't, it's not as, it doesn't have the suppleness that the other side might have.
Mm-hmm. And things like when you're using your manure fork or your broom or your vacuum cleaner, things that aren't as critical as signing a check, we still tend to use one side of our body to do those. And unless we put conscious thought into it, just like hula hooping, we don't hold the equipment the other way and do the other side, especially if we're in a hurry, because it really slows us down. But we can become capable of doing it on both sides. And so I would suggest then that while you can have a physical block that requires some liniment, some massage, even chiropractic, that often it's a mental block. It's not comfortable. It's easier the other way. I'm right-handed, not left. Why should I bother? And so that's why step one, it's important for us to identify where our horse is not moving as easily one way as the other. And step two, help it to become easier so that they're more balanced on both sides. So any thoughts on that?
I agree.
Yeah, that sure makes sense to me too. Because I fight with myself. My right hand and my left hand have a thing going on, and it's terrible, really. But yeah, I sure understand that.
So that's why in the lesson that's in the course that you guys all have on the key to unlock your horse's bend, which is about lateral flexion, the first of the two exercises in there is about teaching it from the ground. And that's because from the ground, our weight, our imbalances, our proprioception, and using one hand stronger than the other and different things like that, get eliminated from the equation when we're on the ground. And so we can work with that horse on the lateral flexion and help them. And even I did have a horse that I have this stuff I use on my body, but it's for horses. It's called McTarnahan's Blue Lotion. And it's sort of a liniment, but it's a pre-liniment in that it relaxes the muscles. And so I've had horses where I've had to put that on before I could work on flexion because they're just like, no, 7 years ago, it hurt when I did that. So I'm not doing that. And I don't know whether partly for some horses it's going to be that liniment or a massage or whatever does relax the muscles. And for others, just the fact that you've brought your attention to the area, and of course, with that liniment, it makes it tingle, right? It makes it feel different. And so possibly it just distracts them long enough that you can work on the flexion with them. It's something that it's worth checking before you get on your horse every ride, just like you check that your chin strap's adjusted right and your girth is done up and the breast collar's not going to slide down. Check their flexion. You can, and the bending button, which we've done before, check your bending button from both sides and check your flexion both ways, because the horse that had it perfectly well yesterday might not have it today if he slept funny last night, just like us. And I don't expect my horse to be able to do something on their back that I can't get from them on the ground. Any thoughts on that?
Well, I'll just say that just doing it while I'm passing by with the fly mask, little bit of give and pick it up, a little tiny bit. Two of the horses today are really showing resistance and raising their head again and again. They're like, I know I don't want to. I'm like, come on down, you know, no, I don't want to. So yeah, it just
Yeah.
fits right in, but I do need to check on that and work with that more regularly to get it.
Yeah, and ask for less. So make sure that you're bringing the head down to where you can see the neck. So that way you can make sure it's not bending in the neck. And if an eyeball goes, when you ask for a little flexion left, if an eyeball goes, release and love on them. If an ear goes, right? And then build on that. Because what I find is that most people, they expect too much. And the horse can only go so far anyway. But if they have, whether it's a physical blockage or a mental blockage to being able to do it, we're trying to find that area where we can just slip them in there for a second and then just say, yeah, that was it. Can we try that again? And build on it. Just like you're gonna, and you know, as with your dancing, you don't have the muscles to just go out and do that after a summer off. You've got to gradually build in that suppleness again, and it's the same with the horses.
Well,
Yeah.
now that we're talking about it, I remember that really I felt too like they were like holding their head still, and I could feel when they like would just let it go and let me just go that little bit. So I think they were actually locking themselves intentionally, like, no, I don't want to go there. And then, you know, they gave in, like, all right. But I could really feel it, like from no, can't move it, like it's really solid, to okay, it unlocked for that little bit.
Awesome. So then, yeah, you want to give a big reward on that. And sometimes we might think that they're straight and that we need a right flexion. And I'll try a couple, 3 times. And if I'm not getting it, I'll say, let's try a left flexion. Because maybe they already have the amount of right flexion they feel they can give at the moment. And so we do a left flexion and reward that, and then they come back to that right flexion again. It'll come fairly quickly if you're rewarding the slight little bits. I feel like there's another thought forming in my brain, but it's not ready to come out. But yeah, a very beneficial one for them to be able to do. And even the bending button, which we've talked about before, it's like we don't need a lot of bend through a horse's body, but you can work that bending button exercise all the way to the point where they bring their head right around to your hip. Now, when they come that far, chances are the ears aren't going to stay level, because that's way too much bend for them to be able to do it. But it still stretches the outside neck muscles. It's something that doesn't hurt to do once in a while. But there again, you build towards it. Things like putting the horse's head down. We've got to bring it down for, I said, to be able to check that neck is straight when we're working it on the ground. And sometimes just that part of the exercise is a tough one to get. Yeah, and so we ask them to bring it down, and if we imagine that it came a hair's width down, we can reward that and then ask again for a little bit more. But that's one that I also want to build, and we do this in the leading work as well, in the Relax and Focus Your Horse course. that I want to be able on command to put my horse's nose all the way down to the ground, if that's where I ask it to go. Because if I can get it from up here down to the ground, then I can get it from up here to wherever it is I actually do want them to carry it.